Welcome back, guys. Alex here with another game room tour. That's right, 2 in a row. Can't be bad. Ain't done one for ages and they all come along at once. But this one, guys, is going to be really fascinating because this is Matt, aka SoulFunkRetro. And I think this is going to be really interesting for all of us because Matt not only has an awesome console collection, but also works in the industry. So it's going to be a fascinating insight into everything that we enjoy playing. So, without further ado, guys, I'll get straight into it because it is a long one. So we're going to hit the road and go and say Matt, SoulFunkRetro.
How's it going? Yeah, not too bad. Good to see you. What are you doing here? I knew you were coming.
No, I didn't. No. Surprising people.
Come in.
Where are you taking me, Matt?
Behind the back of the house.
Into the man cave?
Yeah, we're going outside again. Into the man cave. Yeah, so my man cave is built just because of room, space, family extending, etc. So I've got a daughter. I got chucked out of the house basically.
Yeah, like all men do.
Like all men do. Yeah, we had to have
in the doghouse.
Something. Yes, I'm in my Hannibal Lecter room, I like to call it, because when the doors close, you can just see me.
So when did you have this built then?
This is probably about 4 years old now.
And it's timber construction, I see. I'm
yeah,
a builder,
timber, cedar.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those like it was my dad that basically said, why don't you get one of those kind of sheds in the back garden?
Yeah.
I went, a shed? I'm not putting my games in a shed. And he went, no, you can get these really nice like cedar, so like insulated, electricity. And when I looked at it, you didn't need planning permission.
Yeah.
And it, it cost a decent amount of money, but like wasn't super expensive.
Yes.
Not as much as like an extension.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the best solution. I mean, we still might move at some point, but for now, it was the best thing to do. So.
Well, it looks nice from here, mate. Yeah. I'm dying to see it.
Do you want to come and have a?
Yeah, let's have a gander.
So yeah, I had it built on the back of the house. Yeah, I had it built like this deliberately because in the winter I didn't want to stop myself from accessing it because obviously if you could see it right at the end of the garden and it was snowing, I'd be like, well,
that was the trouble I had with mine. Mine was right at the end of the garden.
Yeah,
I was always worried. It backed onto a park. Yeah, so I was always worried about people breaking in.
Yeah, and that was one of my concerns. But because obviously it's alarmed and it's got as much, it's insured.
Yes.
Obviously, if anything happened, then obviously you don't have the stuff, but it's all insured. Yeah. So some things are irreplaceable. But when needs must, what do? It's either I didn't have the room inside. It was either get rid of some of the stuff or keep it. I didn't want to get rid of it.
No, you don't want to get rid of it.
And so and I wanted it to be accessible constantly. And this was, and the garden needed redoing anyway. So we've got decking out the back now. It's all been redone, but the space we'd never really used it. So it was like, well, shall we do it? And the wife was like, yeah. So if the wife says okay, then you should roll with it. Basically. I don't know if you want to go in first.
Yeah, let's have a look. Wow. Oh, fantastic, mate. This is a lovely, cosy little room. I like this a lot.
So it's not very big. It's about 8
It smells very cedar, doesn't it, in here?
It's about 8 foot by 10 foot.
Yeah.
So it's
8
not...
foot by... It's probably about the same size as mine.
It's the same as my dining room.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have the option to have it a bit bigger, but I just thought to myself, if I'm doing that, I didn't want to have it too big because if I had it any bigger, I'd just end up getting more and more stuff. And it would just get full anyway.
Yeah, it's probably about the same size as my old one. Well, my cab's ended where your games are, so I had that little bit extra for my arcade machines.
Yeah,
but
that's why I always find it really quite hard to film in here because if you're trying to show somebody the space, it can look quite small. I mean, it's a decent size.
Yes.
I mean, I'm obviously the one who's in here most of the time, and it's big enough for me. You know.
So I know you really only through YouTube in the beginning, wasn't it? And then,
which I haven't done a video for a long time.
And then I found out through Jag55 that you did all the prints because he had some in his games room.
So I did done some prints for events.
You did some prints for me, and I looked at some of your videos. I thought he's got a pretty cool collection. I've got to come around and check this guy out. What he's got.
But it's weird. I mean, I've said all along that bit of a weird one. I don't really. it's going to sound strange having a room with a load of games in it, but I don't really consider myself to be like collecting. Wasn't my. I just had lots of stuff because I accumulated it and never sold it.
Yes.
You know? Well, I just ended up just buying stuff.
You weren't collecting on purpose.
I wasn't collecting on purpose.
Yeah.
But obviously I have had points where I've been collecting on purpose, because it turns into a point where you have quite a lot of stuff and then you start going, oh, I wouldn't mind getting X, Y and Z.
So and fulfilling the complete collections and stuff.
Clearly I am a collector because I have a room full of games. But a lot of it's almost happened by... It's a nostalgia-based room more than anything.
So what is your main focus then?
I mean...
Sega? Definitely Sega.
Yeah, Sega is my... I have obviously Nintendo stuff, but as we all do...
Should we have a fight now outside?
Yeah, let's go. I did think that, you know. I was thinking, right, Alex Nintendo Arcade's coming into my Sega room, you know. I know, but you love everything. I know you love everything.
I love everything.
But this is just... I've got no bias to any particular system. The reason there's more Sega in here is just because that's a lot of what I had as a kid. It's going to be exactly the same for a lot of other people as it always is. But this is my nostalgia room more than anything. And as we all do, it kind of started off with it's all the stuff that I had. Then all the stuff that I always used to have. Then all the stuff that when I'd got all that, it was all the stuff that I wanted that never could get. And then after that, it's just bits and pieces that you're interested in, and that's kind of how I see most of it tends to.
So a lot of these games then that you bought back in the day.
Yeah,
really,
no. So
this is a collection that's restarted.
The only original stuff I have, the only original stuff that I have is the PlayStation 1 onwards.
Right.
All my Mega Drive, all the stuff before that, again, like most people, same story. You have to sell stuff to buy new stuff. We weren't a rich family, so I had to sell the old stuff to get the new stuff. And then obviously the Mega Drive stuff I started buying. A friend of mine gave me... God, we're talking a long time ago.
Can you imagine back in the 90s having a collection like this?
No, obviously not. I mean, I think
would you?
I think when I was a kid, I had about 10 games.
Yeah,
that was the maximum I had.
4 or 5 Super Nintendo games at any given time.
Yeah,
because if I wanted a new one,
you'd have to sell it. Yeah, and we had. I mean, I've said this a few times on the channel that I had. Is that we had this guy called the Man. He used to come round. He used to. It sounds a bit weird when you explain it, but. Me and my mate used to call him the Man. We found his advertisement in the paper. See, it already sounds dodgy already. And he would come round with this van just full of games.
Yeah.
And it was almost like you'd ring him up and you'd say, right, well, I've got Sonic 2 to trade in. Yeah. And I'd go, I want to get, I don't know, Revenge of Shinobi or something. And he'd go, well, you can give us that back and give us £5 and then we'll swap it. And it was like a trade thing. And that's how I'd get a lot of my games. Yeah. And I'd probably have about 10.
Used to go in loot quite a lot. Do you remember loot? Did you have loot up here?
Loot?
Or maybe it was a London paper, London rag.
Didn't have loot. Was that the... No, this is ad bag we had. Just something called ad bag. Or it was in the back of the Evening Post.
Yeah.
And we'd just have a look. Or you'd swap them with other people, friends.
Yeah.
That's how you got to play a lot of the games, and then, and so all this... I remember most of my Mega Drive games are accumulated from when Game Station was still around. There was one in Derby, and they were opening this retro floor.
Yeah.
And I went in, and I'm no word of a lie, all the games were just about one. This is when collecting just wasn't even a thing. Well, say wasn't a thing. It clearly was for some people, but wasn't as mainstream as you call it now. But I went in, and they were having all the games were $1.99, and it was buy one get one free. Yeah. And I must have spent 200, 300 quid easy. Oh yeah. I just literally bought, and not because I knew that they were going to be expensive later. It would be
like a feeding frenzy, wouldn't it?
Oh god, that'd be nuts.
But I know when I go to Car Boots and then anyone gets any retro games, it's like 10, 20 people around it.
Just
I can't deal with it anymore.
That's why these days it's. As we were talking about earlier, off camera, I'm kind of a bit conflicted at the moment with video games in general, because I love modern and retro games. I love them both. Love games just in general. It runs through our blood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But like modern games, the way that it's going with patches and updates and all those things, kind of makes me feel that when you buy, I mean, I've just bought God of War.
Oh right.
Yeah. So I just bought God of War. Just came out the other day.
Fantastic reviews, isn't it?
Yeah, it had fantastic review. I mean, it is absolutely I can appreciate this a lot. This game.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, I mean, again, this is a single-player story-driven game, but it's already had 2 updates since I've put it in, and I don't know what they are, but it feels like the thing that I have here now isn't complete.
Right.
Obviously, online games, things have evolved. They do. That's what happens. Yeah. But I find that it's changed my buying habits, because that's the first full-price game I've bought for I don't know how long, because I wait for games to become 20 quid these days, because
Well,
not
in
only
3 months they've dropped price, haven't they?
not only have they dropped price, but after that they're now complete.
Yeah, and updated. Why did they do that then?
Well, I can
I mean,
tell you a lot. I can
they've
tell you.
taken so long.
I can tell you a lot of reasons why those things happen.
Yeah, because you work in the industry.
Because
right?
I've worked in the games industry for about 18 years. I started in 2000, so my first title was, it's up here conveniently. This was my first title. It's called Dragon Riders of Pern, and it was on the
come
PC.
a little bit, Matt, because the light
Yeah.
is a bit bright. Yeah. So you actually worked on.
I
This
worked
game?
on this game. It's on the Dreamcast as well. It's one of the rarer Dreamcast games.
So this was an early.
Yeah, let me go and get the Dreamcast version. It's over here somewhere. I think it is anyway. Yeah, so it's here. So this is the
What's
first.
this, an RPG?
It's it's based on it's an RPG based on a series of books called The Dragon Riders of Pern by a novelist called Anne McCaffrey.
All right.
I'd never heard of her, and I still don't know much about her, but it was my first break into the industry at a place called Grolier Interactive, and that was in Oxford,
Yeah.
which then got taken over by Ubisoft. So I worked for Ubisoft for a bit. Then I moved up to...
How did you get into the gaming industry? Is that something you always wanted to do as a kid? Or?
Well, as a kid, I'd love to have done it, but I never even considered that I'd be able
Right.
to do it, because almost it was like a pipe dream in a way. It's like, well, you want to make games for a living.
Yeah, so you just stumbled across it then, really, did you?
Well,
Apply for a job?
I always had artistic ability.
Yes.
Because I'm a lead artist at a games company now,
Yeah.
so I've always had an artistic ability. And then plus I knew about video games.
Yeah.
I'll quickly tell you my route in. So I've always wanted to do jobs that like seem to be things that are unobtainable to a degree.
Yeah.
Like I first wanted to be a cameraman. I'm not saying that that's unobtainable, but like it's not a regular.
Yeah.
But you're a cameraman now, look.
Amateur.
It's a lot more accessible these days. But like 20 years ago, I was like, well, I want to be a cameraman. That must be a great job. And don't get me wrong, there's loads of cameramen, but I was like, at school, it didn't seem that they were trying to push you in that direction. It was all like, I remember having like one of those careers advisors come to me and say, well, but that sounds like a good thing to do, but why don't you like try like working as a shelf stacker or something.
Yeah,
that's just an example. Nothing wrong with shelf stacking, clearly, but I'm just, they were pushing me into those more types of lines of work, and I was like, well, no, I want to do something media related. Yeah. Then I had a pipe dream of wanting to be a music producer. So I did a BTEC National Diploma in Music Technology, because I used to have the thing, I was thinking, well, if other people can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
I might as well have a go. You know? If you don't try, you don't know, do you? Do you know what I mean? That was kind of my thing. And so I did a BTEC National Diploma in Music Technology, which was great. Learned how to remix tracks, produce tracks, and that was great. But on that course, they had a module based on 3D artwork in music videos.
All right.
And I almost knew how to do it because I'd read my Mean Machines back in the day, all those. I'd grown up with games so much and learnt about them to the point at which I understood.
Yeah.
And the guy there then said to me, because I was doing the things they wanted me to do quite easily, and then that guy said, I need to get you in contact with somebody. I had a word with somebody. He said, I reckon you should. So my dad went out and bought a PC. Yeah. I got some hacky software because the software was like $3-4 grand and I couldn't afford that. So I got a hacky version. Got into some, contacts. Tried to send my work off. Got a CV together. And the first company I got an interview for was a company called Mobius Entertainment, and they are now Rockstar Leeds.
Oh, right.
I didn't get the job. And I wouldn't have given me the job back then, to be honest with you, because I couldn't do a lot of the basic things. But then the second interview I got, and I went down to Oxford with my mum, drove down there. I was like 19, 20 years old. I think I was 19 at the time. Yeah, I'm sure I was 19. It's a long time ago now. And it was a company called Grolier Interactive, and they'd made a game called V2000 for the PlayStation 1.
Oh, okay.
And they'd done a few other things, but nothing that I'd particularly heard of.
Yeah.
And then I came back 2 weeks later. They gave me a job as a texture artist. Within 2 weeks, the lead artist had left, and I became one of the level artists. They then asked me to rebuild the first level of the game.
Wow.
And from there it kind of just
So
snowballed.
you're building the graphics, the artwork,
3D environments for the games.
Wow.
Yeah. So like if this room was in the game, I would have built the room, all the props, everything.
That's incredible. And this was one of the games you worked on.
And that was the first one. That was
Right.
the first. That was the first game.
Right.
And I tell you what, seeing the Dreamcast version in the shops was pretty impressive. Because if you actually put it on and actually go to the credits, you can see me as one of the, because we rendered all our faces were in the game.
Right.
Because we scanned ourselves, or took photos.
Did you put any
and
Easter eggs in the game?
there probably was, but not that I can remember now.
Yeah.
It's a while ago.
Because I know some of the early Atari developers didn't have their name credited.
No.
And they, the company was making a lot of money back then, so they used to put Easter eggs within the game.
Yes, yeah.
When you
It's
got to
funny
a
you
certain
say that,
point.
because we did have our names credited, but some of the people, for some reason, didn't go off their real names. They'd go off almost like pseudonyms of what they'd become.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird, but
Yeah, the company didn't even. I don't think Atari knew about what they were doing.
yeah.
but
Well, I mean,
it's quite-
I can tell you now. I won't tell you who and maybe what
Yeah.
games, but there are things in games that I
Yeah.
know about that. Or in some of the games that I worked on,
Right.
nothing bad. Like
No.
there's, like for example, I had a friend of mine who always used to put a traffic cone in every game, in places that you could hardly see. So,
Right.
like for example, in Spyro, I think there's a traffic cone.
Right. And that was his kind
Or in
of-
Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter games I made, there's a traffic cone
That's
in a
his
place where you
signature,
could.
basically.
And it's like he's
Yeah.
always sticking traffic cones in places,
Yeah,
and,
that is funny.
and just like sneaking them in.
Yeah.
And as long as the testers don't see him and he knows where it is, then.
And the games you're working on now, is there any games that we would know about now you're working on? Or?
Yeah, well, I
was that say?
can't say what I'm working on right now.
Well, your last previous game.
The last previous game I worked on wasn't very well received. I mean, I can tell you lots of stories. It wasn't very well received.
Right.
It was from my perspective though, because obviously from an art perspective,
It looked good.
it looked good.
Yeah, but the game.
but then I'll just get a copy. The last one was this.
Homefront.
The Revolution.
Right, I don't know anything about this
No,
game,
it didn't get great reviews, unfortunately. But
Right.
yes.
So you're at the cutting edge of latest games, then.
Yeah, so we're always working on the latest.
Not just indie games, but they
No.
pushing the technology.
Every game I've worked on has been one that's trying to. All of the 13. Yeah, so this is the one I'm working on now. No, this one's my 13th game, or the one I'm working on now is my 13th game.
Right.
Every single one has been one that's tried to push the
hardware.
The hardware, yeah.
Right. And is it just Xbox or is it PlayStation as well? Or I guess
What I'm
that's
working
down
on,
to
what I'm working on now is for all current
Right.
machines.
except the Switch, probably.
Yeah, obviously I can't say too much because
No.
I've got to be careful.
Yeah,
because
of
I can't
course.
have anybody finding out.
No.
You know.
Do they know
So-
you do? Does your company know you're a YouTuber?
There's a couple of people at work who know, but because I'm where I am and my position I'm in, that's one of the other reasons why I've stopped doing videos.
Oh, okay.
Just because, and I'm slow. I know this probably sounds quite bad, but I'm slowly going through and not deleting, but hiding all my other ones that I've done as well.
Right, okay.
It's a bit. I know. Yeah, it's a bit of a. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I love doing it. This is why I've started with social media stuff, and I've been on Facebook and Instagram
Yeah.
and things like that. Because unfortunately, I think YouTube's not an outlet that I can probably do without.
Giving too much away.
Yeah, it's not so much that as well. It's a bit of self-consciousness about work. Too many people finding out.
Yeah,
I mean, it might all
Well,
be
you
fine.
work with loads of. I work on my own, so I've got no one to count for.
Yeah, whereas there's like a studio of 120
Yeah.
people, and there's other people
Yeah.
below our state, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to. Yeah,
It's a
just
shame,
be a
but
bit
you're
careful.
still there. You're still doing.
I'm still around. That's why I'm
still
doing the events.
You're doing the
things, I'm
artwork.
doing the
You've got some
artwork,
lovely art. This
and-
is what I know Matt for. Is beautiful artwork. Actually,
This is just a couple of bits.
These are the two I've just bought.
That you've
off you.
stolen.
Yes. And they're absolutely stunning, mate. They
Yeah.
really, really are. I've just got my new house, and these are going to go up on my new wall, and they just look fantastic. Look at these guys. So how hard are these to make, Matt?
It depends on what somebody wants.
'Cause
I mean, some are easier than others.
Yeah.
But obviously, with something like the Mario one, I mean, for me, it all started out because I wanted some. There's some on my wall just there. I mean, they're only blue. They're only blue tacked up, so I didn't want to put any
and
frames
those are
on the
two
wall.
of your favourite games, are they?
Oh yeah, I mean I love the Streets of Rage series.
Yeah.
So Axel was my favourite character. I loved the frames of animation, and I loved the front cover of the front of Streets of Rage 1, the title
It's getting
screen.
framed, mate.
I know it's the reason they're not framed is because I didn't want to knock any nails into the wall.
Okay.
You see, because obviously they're not because it's what it is. It's plasterboard. It wouldn't. I should do really. I should find a way of putting them up. But then other people said to me, "Oh, can I have this? Can I have that?" And it started snowballed into that. So it depends on what they want. Depends on how complicated they are. I mean, obviously with this one, when you've got parallax scrolling and you're trying to stitch things together, if you know how to do it, it's pretty simple. But I like them to look pixel perfect, and I want no blurring. They need to be on high quality paper. I want them to look like a quality product because
it does look quality. And obviously you can't post this because it's got glass.
No,
so you're selling at Revival this year, which is in a month's time.
Selling at Revival, and the Super Retro Games Fair in Leeds. But Revival, I'm there for 2 days.
Yeah, so if you want to contact Matt, you've got Instagram, haven't you?
Yeah, Instagram SoulFunkRetro, Facebook SoulFunkRetro.
Yeah, I'll put links in the video below,
yeah,
guys.
just have a.
But if you can buy the prints, but if you want it framed, then you're going to have to go to Revival to pick these up because obviously you can't post them, but they are.
Yeah, I'll have as many as I can when I get there because obviously everything comes out of my own pocket to get all the stuff there, and I've got to gamble whether or not I'm going to sell them and things. So I'd love to have everything for everybody, but it's just so hard to know exactly what somebody might want.
And you've got your job as well.
Exactly, and then obviously you've got weekends for
back to kids what we were saying, you're doing it really because you enjoy doing it.
I love it. I love it, and as long as I break even,
Yeah.
and people go home happy with something that brings them nostalgia and happiness, then that's all I really that's all I really care about, you know.
That's awesome.
But
well, mate, I think we should get into your collection, don't
okay,
you?
yeah,
I'm
that
dying
sounds
to
good.
delve into
Which way
games.
do you want to start? Do you want to go which way round
We'll
do you want
start
to go?
in the left-hand corner up there.
Okay.
Right, so this is the Mega Drive corner here.
Yeah, well, I do a bit of room Tetris, I like to call it, every now and again.
we all do that.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's no particular order.
Yeah.
There's probably games that are better at the back. I mean, I have to double up, as a lot of people. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I like to see the colours and things.
I do. I noticed that in your video you have a lot on display. I love showing off the artwork, especially with your favourite games. And the good thing about that, you can just change them around when you get bored.
Exactly, yeah, you can just swap them. But I do like having certain ones on display.
Yeah.
Just because they evoke emotion, you know what I mean?
So pick out a few of your favourites.
Oh, I mean...
see, Streets of Rage, obviously.
I absolutely love that. I never played this back in the day. That's only there because it's in the middle of these lot. There's no reason it's in the middle.
They say Streets of Rage 3 is not as good as 2.
I didn't play it back in the day. Played it, when I started getting back in to gaming, and I'm not a massive fan of it. To be honest.
Is it? Do you think it's because Streets of Rage 2 set the bench so high, the mark so high that 3 was only ever going to be?
I don't know. I mean,
second best.
The music's one of the big things in it because the music in Streets of Rage 3 is very Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, and I'm just not a fan of especially because I just absolutely love 2. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel the same.
Right. So
it's hard to
prefer 1 then over 3.
2 is. Oh yes, I would go 2, 1, 3.
Okay.
But when I think I've got a bit of OCD that when I had 1 and 2. I had to have 3.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I just couldn't not have it. You know, it's almost like sometimes when you get a bit, even with game series, I'm not really that bothered about. If I haven't got a middle one or something, it really winds me up.
I'm like that with Metroid. You know, I've got Metroid Other M sealed.
And you're like, I'm not going to play it. Yeah, exactly.
Streets
of Rage 2. Oh god, I used to play that. I mean, as everybody did. But this is.
I remember my friend Russell had that.
Even these days, right? This is one of the most original games ever. I just absolutely love its quirkiness. The second one, again, it went platform. I don't particularly think it's as good. It's still got its quirkiness in terms of the type of game it is.
That was made by Sega, was it?
It's a Sega. I don't know if it's. I presume it's the same guys that made this one. I don't know, to be honest.
They never made a follow-up to that, did
I know they think they're Dutch, the guy that made that. But obviously the third one on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Oh, okay. It's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic.
Just having a little
rummage. You want me to... I mean, again, there's just a mixture of loads of bits and pieces.
See, my brother had a Mega Drive and I had the Super Nintendo. And just trying to see if there's any games that he had. Chuck Rock he had. He loved...
I mean, there's all the originals are down here. Golden Axe, Forgotten
Golden
World,
Axe.
Strider.
Complete that.
You
Golden
know,
Axe.
all your
Strider,
regulars.
I just wish we had that on the Super Nintendo.
Such a good game, Strider.
Grab that out, let's have a look at that.
The
only
awful
equivalent we've got of that on the Super Nintendo is...
Can't guess that.
Oh, what's that game?
Look at the awful artwork.
Yeah. What's the Japanese artwork?
Oh, it's
like?
so much nicer.
Is it?
Oh god. Well, again, it's just the general rule of thumb that most Japanese games have the better artwork.
Yeah. We've got Run Saber on the Super Nintendo, which is not bad, but I haven't got the copy, but I've played it and it just finishes too early. It's
slightly controversial. I'm not a massive fan of Strider. People love Strider, but I'm just not a big fan.
Yeah, it was an arcade game as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
What's that, Wiz and Liz? I think I've had that before.
Do you know what? This is gonna. Yeah, I've not played it.
You haven't played it?
I don't know.
Is it a platformer? I'm sure I've owned this before.
This is going to sound quite bad, but as we were talking about earlier on, there's loads of games in here. Because again, going through the phases part, there was a phase where, like I said, when I went to, I don't know if I said this in the video or not, but yeah, I went to Game Station and got those games for when they opened like a retro floor. I'd end up getting all the games for $1.99. I just ended up buying. Oh yeah, I love.
Yeah, I've got that on the 3DS.
Yeah, it's a mint. I love it.
It's great. All these Sega games coming over to the 3DS.
Yeah,
it's great.
Absolutely.
Play that in 3D. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've got that. What's it one? The Sega Classics. Is that the one you?
Yes, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Absolutely
had to get
brilliant.
that.
You got Turbo Outrun. How does that?
Oh, I mean, it's not brilliant.
Yeah.
But I played that a lot back in the day. I'm a massive I love Outrun. It's such an iconic franchise.
It's about the time when I was getting out the arcades, to be honest with you.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I'm probably a little bit older than you.
So I'm 39.
I'm 47.
Right. Yeah. So that's where the time gap is. Yeah. Because I remember one of my first ever arcade experiences that I can vividly remember it is I was stood with my arms up like this, obviously because I was so small, holding onto this joystick, and it was Golden Axe.
Yeah.
I remember the exact screen, and I wasn't playing it because I didn't have the money, but I just remember watching the attract mode, and just it's one of those moments that's just ingrained in my head.
Was the arcades for you a place where you'd go to see the latest games? Because by that time you're talking about the era of Outrun, where a lot of those have now come onto the consoles, which had literally caught up with the arcades.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, the only time arcades was a very rare thing for me. Being where we are, well, I mean, there was arcades and stuff, but we're in the middle of the country. I'd only get to play them. We used to go to Mablethorpe or Skegness. Mablethorpe or Skegness. That's where we'd go on holiday, and that every time I went, I was like, I cannot wait to get in the arcades.
Yeah.
Just to hear that music and just to
so loud.
Oh,
wasn't it?
It was just. Yeah. As a kid, I don't even know if you can recreate that magical time of going in.
No,
I mean, I know you've obviously you've got the room and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's not the same.
Just this, like just walking down, smelling the fish and chips, going in. I mean, To be
honest with you, a lot of the arcades were quite seedy places.
Absolutely. I know they were not. You'd have my parents wouldn't let me go in on my own.
Grown men walking around with beers and smoking.
Yeah,
and, your parents were always a bit wary.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I was lucky enough. Where I lived in Twickenham, there was like a joke shop where kids used to go, but there was none of that drinking and smoking, and they wouldn't allow it in the shop. But they had 10 arcades in there, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, the only other, probably like other people did, the only other time I played an arcade was, in the chip shop, the Mario one.
But yeah, this is about the time when really consoles had caught up with the arcade games, and it was the demise really of the arcade. You've got an excellent game there,
Zero Wing.
See,
that's slightly. I mean, again, I bought a lot of these at Game Station when they were really, really cheap.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was going for a full Mega Drive set.
Yeah.
And then I did that thing where I went, I'm just buying things that I don't want for me personally, no particular reason.
Yeah.
Full set collection, I have absolutely just people can do whatever they want. No one should really have anything against anyone who wants to get everything.
Yeah.
I just personally, for me, I stopped. Just because, again, family, all those
Sometimes
things.
I like the crappier games just for historical reference, really.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would never sell any of the things that I've got. I mean, I've got some of the ones that people consider to be rare and stuff. Like I've got...
Yeah. Oh, you've got Sunset Riders.
I've got Sunset Riders.
So is that an expensive game?
I've got... I don't know. I mean, now...
The Super Nintendo goes for a couple of £100.
My mate at work, the the producer at our workplace, he really wants a box copy of Sunset Riders, but it's like 150, 200 quid.
But that's nowhere near as much.
No, I think it's about a 60, 70 quid game.
That's a lot better. I don't know if it plays the same as a Super Nintendo one. I know this is an awesome game.
Yeah, I mean that goes for a decent amount. Unfortunately, mine's got a little little P written on the front of it and a bit of marking.
I played a little bit of it. I
but
think I played it on the Game Boy Advance. Obviously not as good as the Mega Drive version, but it's a great little platformer.
It seems to me, I've tried to play. I didn't play it back in the day. I've tried to play it now. It's so frantic.
Yeah.
A bit like a lot of the treasure games.
Yeah.
They seem to be again. It's just my age now. I just can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I like the slower pace of something like Streets of Rage. It's just not as quick. But yeah.
So why's the Mega Drive got the blue labels and the black label? What's the difference?
So when I was a kid, the only blue label I ever remember playing, in fact, 2 ones I ever remember playing, was Sonic 3, because a friend had it, and this because I'm a big racing game fan. I love racing games. When I saw this in the arcades, this is a big arcade early memory
I remember
for me.
that. That was huge.
But when that came out on the Mega Drive, I mean, this is like 70 quid. People know this. It had that extra chip in it to make the cartridge, the SVP chip,
so is that nearly arcade perfect?
No. Nowhere near arcade perfect. No. But for the time, obviously, it did. It plays okay. Yeah. I mean, if you go back now, it's
probably frame rate
issues. It's like less than 10 frames a second. It's not brilliant, but again, it's of its time.
Yeah.
And again, another one of my favourite ones, which I had a 32X back in the day. I was one of the people that bought it. Well, my parents bought it for me, but. Again,
so this was an expansion pack for the Mega Drive, right?
So the Mega Drive had, a few things onto it. Obviously the Mega CD 32X that just expanded its life a bit.
Well, so what came first, the X, the 32X, or the Mega CD?
The Mega CD.
Oh, right. Yeah. And that was an expansion.
And this came out as a thing between the Saturn and the and the Mega Drive.
So you'd have that running with the Mega CD as well?
Yes, it's down. Right. If you turn to the right down there, there's
that's
one
some
down
power
there.
Then, dude, isn't it?
Yeah, but this, I only wanted the 32X for this. That was it.
And how's that run?
This is not bad actually. Even nowadays, it's not that bad.
I see. I'm
it's definitely the one. Are you?
Yeah.
No, this is a pretty decent. Like, I mean, you can see even on the screenshots on the back.
Watching,
if you look at the difference between those, like there's a load of dithering on the back of this compared to that. It's much better, and the frame rate's loads better, and there's more content because there's more cars in this one as well.
Yeah, I've just watched Pete on a Retro Trips game room tour of Sega Zombie.
I just watched that.
And it was good, wasn't it? And I'm just learning all about the Sega stuff. Because he's collecting the blue and he's got all the blue. I think the difference.
The main difference is it's just to do with. I mean, I don't even know if Nintendo did it. Basically, obviously, all the early Mega Drive games just came like this with these spines look like that, and then after a while. They just changed the blue box.
Choice
so effectively, it's just a time period thing where they just swapped to a different style of cartridge.
Do the old ones go for more then? Do you think, or
generally? No, because a lot of the time, a lot of the more expensive ones depend on their rarity.
Yeah.
So some of the blue box ones are the hardest ones to get, like Mega Man: The Wily Wars. If you get that, then it's such a rare title. They didn't do many versions of it, therefore it ends up becoming quite expensive. Yeah. I don't know, sometimes it's strange why things end up becoming...
Zone. That is a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, Comic Zone. That it's a beautiful game that is.
Unusual when that came out.
This is I don't even know if it's in here actually, but...
Don't see games like that made anymore, do you really?
No. Well, I mean, again, I suppose it depends on where you look.
Yeah.
I've got this one. Have I got... Let me just check in here.
I mean, there's so many indie games now making these kind of pixelated retro games. It almost becomes... too much. It's almost like I don't want all these new pixelated games. I just want to go back to the old ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't feel the same.
It's not this one.
Some games I've never heard of. Zero Tolerance. Never heard of that.
Here it is. Spot Goes to Hollywood. So basically, I still work with a guy that worked on both of these games.
Oh, okay.
Mario Mallard and Spot Goes to Hollywood. So my friend did all the animation for Spot.
Right,
Spot in this game.
Yeah.
Which one? That one. Mario Mallard. Yeah. But I think I got a couple of them to sign this because the company that I joined, I think I got them to sign this. Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh wow.
So I got my mate Clive to sign it. Matt Dixon, who was the lead artist at the time on that, and another friend of mine called Adi, who I used to work with. Yeah. To sign it.
Really
thought it was a nice little thing.
It's a nice touch, mate. A nice little memento, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that?
Subterranean. It's a shooter.
So what are the best shooters on the Mega Drive?
Oh, I'm not a big shooter person, but I would probably say I'm not a massive fan of. I have got Truxton.
That one.
The first one.
I've never played it.
The first one. I'm not a massive. I borrowed that when I was a kid. I remember swapping. Perhaps it's because it's tainted for me. I remember swapping one of my favourite games, which is Super Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
On the Mega Drive, I swapped it for Truxton for a bit. And I hated it compared to Super Monaco. Really? Hellfire's meant to be a decent one, but again, I'm not a massive fan of that game.
No.
I don't know if it's because... I mean, I do like shooters, but I'm just not a massive fan of Truxton.
So what's your...
I would say that Thunder Force is probably my favourite.
Yeah, but in general then, what do you prefer? RPGs, platformers?
When I was into the Mega Drive,
yeah,
it was definitely more... side-scroller type games, like side-scrolling beat-em-up type games, maybe like Streets of Rage or platformers. I loved Cool Spot, I loved Revenge of Shinobi, I loved Flashback. Yeah, those type of games. But, and as a lot of people hate them, I was a really big sports person when I was younger. I loved FIFA, I loved PGA Tour Golf, I loved NHL Ice Hockey 93.
I love the NHL.
NHL is one of my absolute all-time favourite games.
As well.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously back then they were... they were evolving, and yes, okay, they released a lot of the same games. The EA Hockey when it first came out, and then NHL 93, I absolutely loved them. And then after then, obviously, EA have just made constant FIFAs, constant Maddens, constant. And if you love sports, it's great.
Yeah.
But modern, what I liked about them back then is the simplicity of them. They're so complicated now that you cannot just almost pick up and play them because I learned American football rules from playing Madden. I love Madden. I love American sports, apart from Pajama Rounders, which is what I call baseball.
We should make a bloody decent rugby game.
But yeah, or a rugby game. You know, I've not played one decent rugby game.
The only sport games I like is when there's sort of a fantasy
element.
So I used to love playing Blood Bowl.
Or Speedball.
I absolutely loved it.
Blood Bowl, what was that?
Well, it started off as a board game by Games Workshop, and then I think a couple of years ago it came on the Xbox 360.
I thought I
so you can
recognised
choose like between orcs, elves, and all that, and it's a little bit of luck involved, a little bit too much luck actually. That was only the thing that was wrong with it, but
the sports titles back then, they were all new to me. They were all I'd never played anything as advanced as that, and it was amazing at the time. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't play sports titles now
because they've become simulations. I think the fun's been taken out of a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean they do. I remember in one of the latest NHL games, they did put it was called like an NHL 94 mode, so that the buttons were dead simple and you could play. But it still wasn't the original. So I'd rather play that. Whether that's nostalgia, whether it's just age. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Well, whether it's, but the reason sports games are so important to me, I mean, they're all behind the back of here.
Yeah.
I mean, I do hide, I don't know why I hide them.
The trouble is with the Japanese ones, you don't really know what they are.
No. The Japanese ones, I've got no idea.
So another Turbo Out one, you've got the Japanese
version. Got the Japanese. Well, again, a lot of the Japanese ones, I tend to buy the ones that, for some reason, again, this guy we had this guy who'd come round and I don't know if I've mentioned that because we've been talking before we started filming, but the guy who came round and we ended up trading games with him, he would sometimes have Japanese games, and so we'd just trade something that looked quite cool. Yeah. So this one here, again, this is why I love video games, right? This means nothing to anybody. Yeah. Apart from me. Yeah. Because
it's probably cheap as chips, is it?
I had a friend called Sam that, and I miss him now even. Yeah. You know what I mean? I imagine us playing football.
It brings back memories that
absolutely.
Other games don't.
I would never get rid of this game. It's so important.
Out of all the Mega Drive games, the one that I would love to own and go back to is Road Rash. I absolutely love the music to this game. I love motorbikes because,
big I'm a big
motorbike fan. That was awesome. Just knocking people off the road.
It's an amazing... And again, I've got memories of all these games like that. Yeah. Well, I'll say all of them. Obviously,
I don't think I played 3, though. Is
again, I'd moved on. Yeah. And it went... To make it different, they digitised all the sprites. So these have obviously got hand-drawn sprites for the riders, but this one's all digitised, a bit like Mortal Kombat. And it doesn't, it's lost a bit, I think, in that one, personally. But
didn't they make one for the 3DO?
Oh man, it's one of the best games ever made. You mean this one?
Oh, no way, you've got 3DO?
Yeah.
Oh mate.
So you mean that
one? Oh no. Look, I've never played that. We'll have to do a little gameplay of
mate, that is one of... I absolutely love that
I
game.
remember seeing that. I think I was in Richmond somewhere, and I remember seeing it running in Dixon's on the TV, and I thought, oh my god, that looks awesome.
That,
I've got to get a 3DO, but the 3DO was like 400 quid.
Oh yeah, my 3DO.
Retail.
I distinctly remember. I traded in my Mega Drive, Mega CD, 32X, all my games.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the back of my dad's car, and I had my 3DO on my lap, and I got the original Need for Speed.
Yeah.
I got that, the original Need for Speed, and I got the original. Again.
Was that a package with the console? Then,
no, these were yet to buy. I think
separately?
FIFA came with the console. No, they definitely. These are the two games that I got with it.
You're a happy camper.
And because I like my football.
Yeah.
First 3D football game that I played.
Wow.
I mean, I was absolutely blown away.
David Platt.
David Platt on the front, yeah, like on the original FIFA on the Mega Drive. But this,
that looks awesome.
I'm not joking. I know it is nostalgia talking, but they haven't made a Need for Speed game that feels the same as that.
Yeah.
Because this makes you feel like you're driving on real. It's like you're driving on real roads.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel you're racing cars on real roads, whereas all the others since then, to me, feel a bit more arcadey compared to this. And clearly, there's some nostalgia based.
The trouble is making it too realistic becomes really, really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Arcade games are a little bit more fun and accessible.
And I'm sure I'm in a cloud of nostalgia with that. But you know.
So we've got some Sega Saturn up here as well. Is this another console you bought back in the day?
No, this is the Sega Saturn was from a friend I had who was selling it, and he just went, "Do you want it?" And I went, "Yeah, go on then." And he was selling it really cheap. So most of the stuff I've got is I really don't play Saturn that much at all.
No.
If ever, you know. But again, it's one of those hoarding things. I've got it.
The Japanese Sega Saturn, I think, really opens up a huge library, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Of classic arcade games like Dungeons and Dragons and all of those. But these sort of games never really appealed to me.
No, again, I loved my arcade stuff. And there's some great arcade. Again, you can't go wrong with your Sega rallies. And Daytonas and Virtua Fighters and stuff. And again, it's a moment in time. I wanted to experience it. I've got it. I wouldn't get rid of it because I like the ports of Outrun and Afterburner and Space Harrier. Yeah. Again, I do apologise for everything being doubled up, but it's one of those. Right. It's one of those things. It's so difficult.
That's right, mate. That's fine.
To not
Terminator.
Yeah. Then we got Game Gear on the right hand side. Yeah. Again, a friend of mine had a Game Gear. I bought some of the games that we used to play when I was younger.
Ones in there. Got Wonder Boy there.
Yeah, a lot of loose ones. There's others in the back there, so I don't know what else there is. So
it's got an odd cover, hasn't it, for Wonder Boy?
Yeah, for Wonder Boy. I know, it's strange, isn't it?
Strange cover.
What else we got? Lemmings.
Yeah.
Space Harrier. Space Harrier. Fantasy Zone.
Did they play alright on there?
Ninja
The batteries
Gaiden
used to run out really quick, didn't they?
Oh yeah, you have to have a power supply really.
Yeah.
It was again, it was of its time.
Yeah. We used to pick up loads of those at the car boot. None of them never used to work.
Yes.
Oh, we got a little Nintendo collection.
Oh, look, there's some Nintendos. There's two bits of Nintendo. There's one bit here, which is just some 3DS.
Nice 3DS games, Zelda.
Yeah, there's only a few. I haven't actually.
Oh, mate, you've got to play that.
I've played all the way through Luigi's Mansion. Again, I love my racing games, so I got some of these are my daughters anyway, so like Nintendogs and stuff like that.
You've got a lovely box. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
You've got a
I'll move all these out that way.
Just
that's from HMV. It's got the sleeve on it.
But you know what? I actually have that sleeve as well. Yeah. And that's very sought after, that sleeve.
Yeah, I heard it was quite...
It's got the cardboard sleeve, guys. I've got that as well. It's really nice.
But again, I've got a sealed Harry Potter because this is one of the games I worked on. This is the second game I ever worked on. It was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on the GameCube.
My son played that.
Yeah. But I moved from the company I was at to a place called Eurocom, and I was either going to be working on that or Nightfire.
Yeah. All right.
Because they were working on both at the same time, you see.
You've got about as many GameCube games as I've got.
I've got I've got the classics.
It's great, but you don't go back to most of them, do you?
No, I have to say, I really am. I want to at the moment play the Metroids again.
Oh, mate, awesome.
Because I do love Metroid Prime.
You do, yeah.
That's the first Metroid game I played. You see, I'd never played any before that. Yeah. Because I didn't really know that many people who had Nintendo.
Right. Yeah.
Metroid
for me is I've just finished the 3DS version, Samus Returns.
Oh, I've heard that's good. Yeah, it's on my list in Amazon ready to buy.
It was up there with Zelda Breath of the Wild for me last
Really?
year.
Okay.
It was so engrossing, and
Yeah.
it's just so playable.
Well, I might have to pick that up then.
Just got
Yeah.
better and better and better all the way through. The boss battles were fantastic. The music, the atmosphere, that whole sense of being alone.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'm going to America soon, so I'm thinking that I need either to take. I was going to take either my Switch or my 3DS.
Right, you've got a Switch.
Yeah, I've got a Switch.
Cool,
It's in the
house.
in the house. Yeah.
You excited for Metroid 4?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
The only thing is because it's not been made by Retro Studios, I'm a bit.
Yes.
But
Who's
that,
it been
you know,
made by?
I'm not entirely sure who it is, but I know it's not Metro Studios.
Is it
No, it's not
Namco?
Retro.
Is it
Metro
Namco?
Studios. That'd be good.
It's the same people.
Oh
did-
yeah, Namco. I know Namco are publishing it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or thinking it.
Well, they do a good job. They did a
don't know,
fantastic
actually.
job of Smash Brothers.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and they've done some great arcade games.
It's just
for
that when a
it,
new
so-
developer takes on
Yeah.
on something, you know.
So you've got your Master System, which
Oh
I'm
man, I
completely
love.
oblivious to.
Oh man,
The only thing I
these
was-
again. I mean, these mean nothing to anybody probably, but like
Yeah.
Chase HQ. I love Chase HQ in the arcades,
Yeah.
but the Master System version of it. Oh,
Because we were
it's one
talking
of
about it
my
earlier about the
absolute-
Spectrum version, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Again, I had that.
Is this a good port of it?
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if this was on fire, it would be one of the games that I would
You'd grab it.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I don't like about it is I always find the artwork of the Master System really bland.
Yeah, the thing is, I suppose
I think
it's a
you've got to
weird
have
thing
some
because
nostalgia with it.
they
haven't
do
you?
have. I mean, where's Pro Wrestling, which is renowned for one of the worst covers
Is it-
ever.
Oh my god. That's terrible, isn't it?
It's
What the
ridiculous,
hell? They
isn't
put
it?
a lot of effort
I
into that,
don't
didn't
even
they?
know what it's trying. Not only that, I mean, why is it
Jesus.
off centre to the left? I mean, I
That's
don't.
weird. What's it got to do with it?
But-
Why's the head off?
These, I know everybody. If you come to the Master System not knowing anything about it, then yeah, I can absolutely
It's just a
understand.
grids. It just looks like an educational
Yeah,
package.
but
Do you
for
know what I
me,
mean?
I don't know what it is. Again, I just
Yeah.
absolutely love them.
So this
you know.
is this a system you had back in the day?
Oh
is it?
yeah,
Right, okay. So you've got a lot of nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I absolutely
So,
love.
Pick
and-
out some good games, then, mate. What sort
Oh.
of Master System games would you recommend?
Well, that is a stable
viewers-
classic.
Wonder Boy,
Wonder Boy,
Monsterland?
Wonder Boy, Monsterland. If you've not,
Yeah.
and Wonder Boy 3, Dragon's Trap,
Yeah.
they're excellent games for the Master System. I mean,
It's
the Master
quite
System
an
is
easy-
an awesome
Yeah, and it's
machine.
quite easy to complete, isn't it? I think a lot of YouTubers have completed the Master
Yeah, I
System.
mean, I was going for a full set at one point.
Was you?
I know Cyber Snake 7J.
Yeah, Jay's got
he's
one.
got a complete set.
Stuart's got one.
Stuart's got one.
So they're not at. Well, they're
I mean,
not-
it is. I think it is.
hard.
There are some pretty expensive ones towards the end because there's Masters of Combat. I think there's Boogie Boy. I think is it Boogie Boy or there's a like a buggy racing
Right.
game. I can't remember what it's called. Off the top of my
Where's
head now.
Buggy Boy? It's
It's
not.
not Boogie Boy the arcade
Right.
game. It's something
Something
different.
else.
There's Championship Hockey. I think there's a few kind of anomalies that are quite expensive. You know, a couple £100 or something like that. That's a good game. You'd like that. Masters of Darkness.
What sort of game is that?
It's a Castlevania type game.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people always say that this is the Master System equivalent of Castlevania.
That's got some nice artwork.
But as you can see from the back, it's kind of similar to a degree. Well,
Yeah.
at least in its presentation of what
Yeah,
it looks like.
and gameplay.
Yeah, I think you'd like that one if you like your.
Right. It's just not something I remember anyone owning.
Oh,
back
you see,
in the day.
yeah. I mean, I think.
I guess that's just, it might be just the era that I grew up in. For me, it was all BBC Micro, Sinclair Spectrum,
Yeah.
arcade, and that was it.
Yes,
Then I left
yeah.
school, young man into work, and then the next console was a Super Nintendo Mega
Yeah.
Drive. Totally bypassed the NES and Master System. Don't know anything about the system, so it's really interesting for me to see. Actually,
This is the specific one I had when I was a kid.
Right.
I had to have this version of it. I mean, again, these are double.
are there different variants?
Yeah,
of
so
it?
I've got, again, I'm not really collecting variants, but I've got this one, then there's
Yeah.
the Outrun one, which is behind it, look.
Yeah.
Then this Master System 2, where they did this with the Alex Kid as well. I'm lucky a guy from a previous workplace gave me that for £5, and it's basically brand new in all its
Wow.
packaging, that one. But it took me a while to find this one, a decent version of it, because
Yeah.
again, the Master System, this is the obviously original model, PAL model. The original one came with Snail Maze, I think, to start off with. It was like a hidden game, and then there was one with Safari Hunt and the gun, which is here.
Yeah.
You obviously could get the Master System phaser,
Very
which
similar to the Zapper, isn't it?
yeah, very similar. But there's yeah, there's a
Very
few
unusual
different
shaped
versions.
console, isn't
It
it?
is. I do have the. It's down. If you.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me just grab this. Look, there's one down here. Look. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's a weird
Yeah, weird shape.
looking machine.
Yeah.
But again, very nostalgic to me, the Master System
Yeah.
is. But this one, yeah, this one's got Alex Kidd built in. The original ones of these had, like I say, it had Safari Hunt, Super Hang-On. Actually, one of them came with the card. So some of them come with them when you just turn it on, and some of them come with the card that you slide in here. Because the again, I'm not a massive wealth of knowledge when it comes to everything to do with things like this, but I know that
you could get the game on cartridge or card.
Yes, because the version of the Master System before this that came out in Japan came on
just cards only.
So obviously when it was like a backwards compatibility thing to a degree. You could put stuff in there, but then obviously when you started using cartridges,
a bit like a Hue card for the PC
it is
Engine.
Basically like a Hue card for PC Engine. I actually had quite a few of them, and I gave the last ones that I had to Jay to help with his collection.
And they more sought after than the cards, are they?
Yeah, I mean they're more harder to find.
Yeah.
I would say with the plastic sleeves and all those things. Yeah, they're a difficult one to find. I've always found this stick quite fascinating. I never had one when I was
like
younger.
A gear shifter.
Well, the thing that's weird about it is that it sticks on the other side.
This what?
For me, every joystick that I've ever had, like any controller that you've got, the
buttons are on the right side.
buttons are on the right side.
Okay.
I can't use this.
No. Well, it almost looks like a gear shift.
It does look a bit weird
For
as well,
pole
doesn't
position
it?
Or something.
Yeah.
You know, odd shape.
But I'm just surprised that that's not on the other side. But it's just weird to me.
Very weird.
But there's tons of great Master System games, and I love it. It's such an awesome machine. Again, a lot of games that I had were either racing or sports games, because I love the racing games. Again, this is a Master System kind of exclusive that has the Outrun name, but it's very much like Chase HQ.
Oh, okay.
So what you do is there's a criminal and you have to get him at the end of the. So it's got the Outrun name on it, but it's not.
Not quite
I wouldn't
same.
say it's an Outrun game. But I had this back in. I remember distinctly coming back with my mum on the bus after it was my birthday, and I'd come back and that's the game that I'd picked.
Wow.
And so
did you see reviews on it? Did you
no,
know much about it?
I was too young.
Thought,
I think
okay.
I was too young at the time to even consider what the reviews of it was like. I mean, to me, it would have been brilliant if it were crap. You know what I mean? Because I was just so happy to have a new game. You know, I think that's so much. It's such a good thing when you're younger, because you just don't comprehend a lot of those things, I think, as well. You don't. Well, at least I didn't. I was probably very easily pleased. You know?
I remember being disappointed with a few Spectrum games that I used to buy. Never a Super Nintendo game, because I think by that time I used to read reviews, a lot of reviews.
Yeah.
Because back in the Spectrum days, you didn't really have. Well, you had Mac Crash magazine, but even earlier than that, because I'm talking about 1981.
Yeah.
When I started collecting and buying games.
Yeah.
There wasn't many magazines that reviewed the games.
No.
You know, literally just went on screenshots on the back and art covers.
Yeah.
You know, and that was it.
So the first machine I ever got was this. I have it here. It's not plugged in.
Oh,
which is the Acorn Electron.
Yeah. Oh, some fantastic games for that.
My dad came home with that one day, and I played. This is the first ever game I ever remember playing, which is a game called Ghouls.
Yes,
and
I do remember that.
That is, again, it's such a nostalgic game to me.
Yeah, and Micro Power, just that emblem at the top brings back.
And those three games just there, I had Cybertron Mission and Moon Raider.
Did you ever play Daredevil Dennis? Remember that one?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, I love the box art for these.
But the thing that's so great about these is that they were on sale in my local newsagents.
So are you...
Or like a carousel for like
$1.99. Have you got an SD for this? Or?
I haven't, no, unfortunately.
So you're loading the games up?
Yeah, if I've got like a separate cassette deck, and every now and again I'll get it out. It's not constant, and then play, a couple of games of it. And it's so good. Normally we do it when my dad comes round. So if my dad comes round, we'll get the Acorn Electron out and we'll have a blast on it.
That's
which
awesome.
Is why I bought it. It wasn't necessary to play on it all the time, but I just really wanted to have the machine. You know, it's just pressing the keys.
I know.
It's just so
I've
cool.
got the Sinclair, the 48K with the rubber keys, and
Yeah.
everyone says, "Why don't you get the Plus with the tape there?" I said, "No, I didn't have that in the day. I want the rubber key one. That's
well,
the one I had."
talking about a machine, and I don't know what that's doing. That Alex can put that back there. Yeah,
so you've got loads of machines down here. And actually
I've got
the 3DO here. Oh my
That's
God.
the 3DO. This is the Spectrum Plus 3.
Yeah.
I had this as a kid. Again, I just bought all the things back that I had as a kid. But I love this machine. But this one has had the floppy drive replaced.
Yeah, and you've got an SD.
And it's got an SD card
You've got all the
in it.
games
So
on there.
it'll only run 10 at a time though, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My friend Gruss Newton, don't know if you know Gruss Newton.
Russ,
he did it for me basically.
That's
came
great.
round. Again, I just had to have the machine. I had to have. It's just nostalgia.
Yeah.
I mean, when I don't know if you do the same thing, and I bet you do because everybody does. But I just come in here sometimes and just sit.
Yeah. Just look around, look at the artwork.
And I'll just probably watch a bit of telly or something. And I won't even play a game.
I don't want to know what else you get up to.
No, I don't know what. What are you suggesting? But yeah, I end up just watching, I don't know, like a DVD or something.
Yeah.
Not a naughty DVD.
No.
And yeah.
No, but this is your space, isn't it? This is where you
It's
get a
where I
bit of
just
time,
sit
a bit of thinking man's time, and just
and it's,
chill out. And
it's brilliant. And I wouldn't. I have all this stuff for that. It's like a little time capsule. My wife has said to me sometimes. She has said, "Are you okay? Are you not?" As in, like, she worries.
Are you
that,
selfish yet? Because I've had that from mine. You're selfish buying all this stuff and having all this stuff, and I'm like, well, you can have a hobby as well if you want one.
Yeah, I mean, my wife doesn't necessarily have a hobby, so it's probably the other way around more than anything. I feel guilty.
Yeah.
So she never ever says to me, "You can't have X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
I'm quite good at curbing what I buy, but it's more me feeling guilty for spending money on stuff that, like, I felt quite guilty for buying that God of War the other day because I knew that all I had to do was wait 3 months and it'd be half price. Yeah. So because having family and that, like, obviously you're always conscious about what you're spending money on, and like I say, a lot of my collecting has calmed down anyway, because I think we live in a world now where, well, at least for me, I'm getting a bit, again, I don't know if I've said this already, but getting a bit jaded with modern gaming because of the updates and the way that the thing that you buy is not the final product, and therefore what's the point in having the disc? Because we're clearly going into an era where that's going to become less and less. I'd almost like them. You know, I had an idea the other day. I'm sure everybody's thought of this. It's like I'd love them once they've finished patching. Yeah. Once they've done everything,
then release it.
Well, then at least release another version of it. Yeah. Where the people that want to keep with all the patches on it. Yeah.
Didn't there was Street Fighter? Didn't there? So many patches for that, and then finally released the one that everyone wanted.
That's the thing.
You just feel shortchanged. I've just spent 50 quid on that.
Exactly.
And then but 6 months later, you release it again.
They clearly have a marketing strategy for a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And as we were discussing earlier on, with every good thing comes bad things. Like, it's great. It's a really positive thing that you can release a modern game these days. People find something wrong with it, and you can update it and fix the problem. But what also happens negatively with that is that developers will sometimes when a game goes gold, they will then know that they have a few months to fix more stuff.
Yeah.
So they will probably release it.
I have to say Nintendo are quite good at
Nintendo are quite good at that.
And the only thing they do add is extra players to the game, like Smash Bros. Will add. But, you know, I'm sure the Switch version, when that comes out, will have all the players that were released online.
Absolutely.
Which would be great.
And don't get me wrong, we evolve. Games evolve, things evolve, you know. I don't know if you've kept up with this controversy of loot boxes that are happening recently, and then putting, like, loot boxes in video games and find out whether or not those type of things are gambling and things like that.
Oh,
it's
right.
like,
didn't know.
No, there's quite a lot of controversy on that at the moment, but it's obviously to do with the fact that, yes, it's great that we can add content to games and stuff, but for me, if somebody who wants to buy something in it to be the product, and to be able to keep it and have value in it afterwards, you know, what's going to happen to a lot of these? If you've got a completely, you know, a new PlayStation 4 with none of the patches in it, and you buy a game and it's, I don't know, 10 years down the line, are you going to be able to grab those things? No. And I do think about the future. I don't just think about the immediacy of playing the game right then. And then go to retro gaming. I do love adding to what I've got. I like every now and again the thrill of buying a new game. It's great. But it's become so expensive. And I practically have everything I've ever wanted. And now
you're a good place then, really.
I am in a good place, but it also makes me slightly sad at the same time. Because buying those things is like a journey, and if
Yeah.
your journey stops, it's like,
Yeah.
what do you? Then you start
You
sitting
can
and
just slow it
evaluating.
like I've said.
You know,
I mean, I'm going for a complete SNES collection. It might never happen, but it's a journey.
It's a journey.
And I'm just going to
Yeah.
slowly chip
Yeah,
away at it.
exactly.
And I'm quite happy buying a game every
Exactly.
now and again.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So if I go to a convention, I might buy one game, couple of games, maybe not buy anything.
Yeah.
Have the enjoyment, like I was saying in the video that I
Yeah.
watched of yours the other day, the enjoyment of just going, spending time with people.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking, like selling these prints. The thing I love about it more than anything is I
the
get to
people.
go to these events, go a bit early, mingle with people.
Yeah.
Get friends
It's a
that
social thing, isn't it?
talk to people that you don't even have to explain anything to, because they
They know. They're on the same wavelength.
understand straight away, and that's what's so good about
Let's
it.
have a look at your PS1 collection, dude.
Yes. So PS1, when so I sold my 3DO
Yeah.
with all the games. Because obviously I wanted a PlayStation, so everybody had one. But one of the main factors was it had the original.
So did it come out at the same time as the PS1, the 3D?
No, 3DO was like that one of those in-between consoles.
Right, okay.
It was like the first big multimedia console. But everybody was having a PlayStation, and when I started seeing Tekken and Ridge Racer, the original Ridge Racer, and obviously this game was for me again. Me loving my racing games.
Not into your RPGs that much.
No,
right?
I'm not. I'm not an
I've
RPG
noticed.
person.
So mainly racers, sports.
I love
sims
racing.
and
I
stuff
love
like
arcade games. I love. I haven't got a genre. We were talking about this again off camera.
Yeah.
It's like music. I haven't got a particular genre completely. Okay, yes, I always go to Soulful House. This is how I got my name, Soul Funk, and my nickname, because I like when I did my DJing, I liked Soulful Funky House.
Oh, okay.
And that's where Soul Funk came from, and that's where it ended up getting stuck.
Retro,
And then I just ended up sticking retro.
It's a cool
on the end
name.
of it.
I like
That's
it.
why I ended up. That's the only reason I have it. There's no other.
So Wipeout. Any other little gems you like? Resident Evil.
I mean, who can't not say that the Resident Evil series isn't amazing? I mean, I've got all them.
Yeah.
Most of these are my original games as well, apart from this Resident Evil Director's Cut,
Wow.
which somebody sent me, which I didn't even know existed when I had the PlayStation. You know, again, got the others, got Nemesis just here as well.
Very nice.
So
Any other little oddities there?
oddities. Let me think. Not oddities so much.
Castlevanias or
Not really.
Zombies?
I had. No, again,
Oddworld's a
they're
good
expensive. Oddworld's a good game. I love Final Doom. That's an awesome game. Like I say, I love everything. Most of the ones I like on the PlayStation are ones that are commercially available for everybody. Destruction Derby, Colin McRae. What's it? Not the they did the Soviet strike and nuclear strike.
Was the game
Tomb Raider.
that turned the console around.
Well,
when I first saw that, it was just incredible.
I've worked with quite a few people that worked on the Tomb
so
Raider
that was
games.
Core or Eidos?
Yeah, because I worked in Derby. It was Core, which is where obviously Derby is near where we are.
Was in near where I live, Shepperton. Was it not based down there?
No, Core was in Derby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Eidos brought them
That's
out.
That's where Lara Croft Way is.
Right.
They've named a road after Lara
So
Croft.
who owns the franchise now?
Eidos owned the franchise,
Still.
and Crystal Dynamics make the games.
Right.
That's obviously in America now, and the new reboots are absolutely fantastic.
You like them?
But the originals, I mean, again, when I look at games these days, me doing the job I do, I appreciate them in many different ways because I know the struggles that people have in getting a game to do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And I can relate to it quite a lot. So, one of my favourite games of all time is the GTA series. But the latest one, when I see that, I marvel in its technical, ability
And
because
vastness. It's so big, isn't it?
yeah, but it's the way you can see. I mean, I'll probably end up getting boring now, but like the way when I look at that game, I just look at the way that it technically works.
Yeah.
and I know how
hard that is to achieve.
Yeah, like the content, how it's just put together. I would love to sit and see their production and how they actually put that game together.
Yeah, because people still complain about games being expensive. But these games are in development for like 5-6 years now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
And that's
games,
the weird thing because they must
good
get the
value for money.
development kits before the console's released. Then by the time the games is released, the console's on its way out almost.
Yeah, I
isn't
mean,
it?
it's through the years, it's always been different. So, like, say for example, I mean, I've been through multiple console launches now. So, like when the 360 came out, Xbox 360, I remember in the office we got one, like months before it came out, clearly, because we were developing a game for it. And yeah, like different development studios will get them at different times.
Yeah.
Because it would depend on, you can't give everybody the hardware.
Yeah.
So what they will end up doing is they'll end up giving the first revisions of the hardware to a lot of their first party studios. They'll work on them, find out what they might need to change hardware wise. You know, like say for example, one of the big ones was when Epic were working with Microsoft and they were doing Gears of War for the 360. They made Microsoft almost change how much memory it had because they knew they needed more. Do you know what I mean? And they were saying, look, if you had extra memory in it, we could do this. And so that relationship between developer and the console manufacturer will evolve a bit, and that will change the specs of the hardware, and then over time the console specs will change. The next PlayStation that comes out, you know, there's going to be dev kits out there probably
already,
now or things. Early revisions of hardware, it would have been probably years ago when they started thinking about this stuff, you know.
So you've got a nice little setup here. You've got your flat screen TV.
Yes.
There's all your 3DO games down there.
Yes, that's my little 3DO collection.
I don't think I've seen a 3DO collection before, to be honest with you. I've seen the odd game here and there, but not a full... Well, it's not a full collection.
I can tell you a little story about, because I had quite a lot of 3DO games when I was younger.
So pick a few out there, mate.
Oh, for me, again, so the ones I had that I absolutely loved, again, you've got those ones are fantastic. You cannot go wrong with those. I had my FIFA. Again, what have we got? I loved it. I mean, again, we're not talking like RPGs or whatever, and I'm not into space games.
I played that on the PC.
That
is awesome.
I absolutely loved that game when I was
awesome.
younger.
I remember playing that on the PC. That is good.
Now, my uncle had this game on his PC, and when it was out in the 3D, I was like, I've got to have it.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark, yeah.
I've also got the second one as well, which is, again, for the
These
time...
are like click point adventures, are they?
They're 3D survival. They're almost like a really precursor to Resident Evil. In a way.
Yeah.
You know, they're survival horror, one of the first, but the frame rates in them now are absolute. This game now, this is, as far as I understand, one of Naughty Dog's first games. You know, the guys who made the Uncharted series?
Yeah, and Crash.
And Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
This is where you can see the Naughty Dog logo, the old one there.
Oh, right.
Way of the Warrior. It's a digitized fighter. And most of the people in it are from the studio. So they would dress up, or they'd get friends and they'd digitise it via the people they know.
That is interesting. Is it good?
It's a bit crap.
Yeah. But this is why I like these sort of games.
But I loved it back in the day.
Yeah,
and so
I probably
I
quite
had
enjoy the cheesiness of it.
I had to pick that up, you see.
Way of the Warrior.
Way of
Never
the
heard
Warrior.
of it before. It looks cool.
And
So
then there's versions...
that's before or after Mortal Kombat? It must have been after.
Yes, sorry,
digitalised.
way after Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
because obviously 3DO, it'd already been the Mega Drive and that lot.
Flashback.
This came out on things like the CDI and everything. It's exactly the same as the Mega Drive version, apart from there's a lot of the cinematics are a lot different, the audio is a lot different.
Right.
Things like Syndicate.
Yeah, that's a classic.
You know, which is obviously again it's an Amiga classic. That is. I mean, there's.
Why do you think it failed then? Just too expensive?
Well, from watching a lot of the documentaries,
yeah,
it was to do with the fact that the 3DO company themselves didn't they didn't make the product. They licensed out the hardware, or at least, as far as I know, licensed it out to other companies to make. So you'll notice that this is the Panasonic version, but you can get a Sanyo version and you can get a JCV version. So what they did is they allowed other manufacturers to make the console. So it's almost like Sony would allow others to make the consoles. But what happened then is because they needed a cut of it and the other company needed a cut of it, that's why the console was so expensive.
Well, that's almost like people always cuss Nintendo for not taking on Sony when they offered them the CD
the PlayStation
option.
Absolutely, yeah. And
But
that's where the PlayStation
they don't realise that Sony would have wanted a huge cut out of that system, and they opted out, and I think rightly so.
Yeah. Well, you don't know how that story would have ended,
No,
do you?
you don't.
You don't know how it would have ended, but I mean. Yeah, that's
got a
effectively
lovely
how it...
box Super Nintendo, which is the one I had back in the day.
It's all in there and everything.
Lovely jubbly.
Yeah.
We got a lovely
Game
NES
Boy,
with a
I've got an
zapper.
NES. Yeah.
I owned the Xbox, the original Xbox, loved it.
It's an absolutely amazing system.
So games I had was Fable, the first one. 1 and 2 were the best. 3 was rubbish. Conquer.
Conquer Live
which
and
is
Reloaded.
it is bad. It is the one that's on the N64, isn't it?
It's like a remade version of that.
Yeah. Had that. Oh, mate, this is the best game. One of the best games ever.
Ninja Gaiden, yeah.
That is such a good game. I remember fighting the nunchucker guy right at the beginning. That is awesome.
Again, I apologise.
Can you get that on the PS4 at all? A version of that. I'd love to play that again.
I don't know if you can get Ninja Gaiden games on the PlayStation, but not on the PlayStation 4. I don't think.
Splinter Cell, not a big fan. But,
there's the Toe Jam and Earl, by the way.
Toe Jam
that is fantastic.
Is
why it's such a good.
Yeah.
I love the game. I think it's brilliant. Right. You know, it went back because basically the original Toe Jam and Earl had this really quirky game mechanic of you like going on levels. They were Earth-like levels, but they were in like stages, and you had to go on elevators up to the next one. And it went back to that mechanic on that one.
That was a good game.
Yeah, Deus Ex. Again, Shenmue, which is obviously getting re-released now.
But I tell you, I don't know if you've got it. I'm trying to look for it. Oh yeah, Jade Empire.
Jade Empire, yeah.
That was excellent. And Knights of the Old Republic. Have
I've
you
not
got
that?
that?
No.
If you like Jade Empire,
yeah, because they're both by BioWare, aren't they?
But
there's two games I made, or two games I worked on.
All right.
Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy and Spyro: A Hero's Tale.
That was on the N60.
That was on the GameCube.
Yeah,
that was on the GameCube as well.
You worked on a lot, mate. Still trying to find the game that I played the most on. Brute Force was good.
Oh, Brute Force was pretty good. I like that.
I quite like that. Red Dead Revolver, brilliant.
Brilliant game, yeah.
Metal Slug 3. No, you haven't got the game.
What is it?
It was Worms 3D.
No, I've not got Worms 3D.
I loved Worms 3D.
I've not got it, unfortunately.
Oh, I used to stay up all night playing that game. I loved it.
No, I've not got that.
Halo, of course.
Halo.
Oh, brings back so many memories. Halo 2.
Well, this machine and the PlayStation 2 probably has my all-time favourite game.
No, it was a good system. I enjoyed it.
My all-time favourite game.
Quite cheap to collect for as well, I would imagine.
The arcade version of that.
Yeah, spot on.
I absolutely love that game.
Yeah.
It's got the right feeling.
Yeah.
It's got the right everything about the music.
Could you get a steering wheel off the original Xbox?
You could, yeah. So
So
the arcade version, there's an arcade. There's a bowling alley. Literally went there yesterday bowling with my daughter, and they've got an Outrun 2 there. And I was like, every time I go, I've got to have a go. I have to have a go.
Chronicles of Riddick. That was a good game.
Yeah.
PSP.
Now, I love this machine.
Yeah, lots of really
PSP.
quirky
and
games
the Vita,
on it.
I thought it was great.
I've got Capcom Classics there. I think there's a few really good ones on that.
I've got the Capcom Classics. Got the Midway
Gunsmoke, King of Dragons,
Midway Arcade Treasures. That's good. Oh.
Sun. Yeah.
EA,
what's on the Midway?
Sorry, Midway Arcade Treasures.
There's a few on here I like.
Rampage.
Oh, Wizard of War.
Yeah, that's a good game.
I've got to get it just for Wizard of War. Oh my god.
It's got this one called EA Replay as well, which has got a load of...
That's an arcade game I want, Wizard of War. Paperboy, great games. Spy Hunter, rock hard, stupidly hard. Oops, sorry mate. SNK Classics.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope all these games come on the Switch.
Or Capcom Classics Collection Reloaded, that one's quite good.
Got on there?
That's pretty good. You've got to have all
that's
those.
One I just looked at. Yeah.
Oh, is that the one you just looked at? Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's good. That came out on the Wii. I think.
Is there any others? I'm sure there might be a few more. No. Is that it?
I might have to get it just for
got off this.
Sega, yeah.
That's good. They're quite good to play on the PSP.
Flicky.
But
play Flash, almost arcade perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Flicky, great game.
EA, this is an EA Replay one, so it's got Budokan. I absolutely love that game. It's crap.
Everyone's got their
it's
guilty pleasures.
But the emulation on these are like the Road Rash for some reason. The music's not right. It's not the same. I don't know. I don't know.
Some of them a bit slow as well, aren't they? 360 collection.
Yeah, 360 stuff.
Xbox One. So what do you prefer over Xbox One and PS4?
Well, I mean, I much prefer to play on the PlayStation more than the Xbox. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I've not got. It's not like I have an allegiance to either two. It's just that I found that one to be the best at the time. You know.
Dark Souls. That's coming out for Switch.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Bayonetta. Brilliant game.
No, I love Bayonetta. It's so good.
It is so good.
These are all my magazines. So I'm a big Mean Machines guy, which is I absolutely loved it. So this is nearly a full. Well, it's a full set of the original Mean Machines. This one, that's the first one I ever bought. That one is. So these everything from 10 or 9 onwards. I think it might have been 9 onwards. Are my original
I'll have to get some of these for my super
original
play. These are
magazines.
good, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the first one I ever bought. Sorry, yeah, that one. And then obviously I rebought the other one, or bought the other ones. But I have a full original Mean Machines set. And then when they split from Sega, they went to Sega, Mean Machine Sega, and Nintendo Magazine System. If you remember.
Oh, you got a super play there.
There's a few. Yeah, they got them from Daz.
Oh, did you?
Loro, yeah.
You got the ones I want, have you?
I don't know. You can have a look.
No, I've got all them. I'm only missing 2 now.
Yeah, Daz gave me them.
collection.
They're interesting to read because obviously I wasn't a Super Nintendo person.
No, oh, it's a great magazine because that was my first introduction to sort of manga and anime.
Right, okay, yeah.
Such an unusual magazine.
And then there's this magazine which I got a lot of these recently, which is called Mega, which is a Mega Drive and Mega CD magazine. And I had a few of these back in the day, so I thought I'd start collecting those as well.
Moving around here, I see you've got.
So,
oops, sorry, mate. There goes your DS games. This is a beautiful statue. Now let me guess the game.
I'm not normally into statues.
Or I am if it's a game I really like.
Yeah,
like
well,
Metroid,
I do love that game.
Is it not The Witcher?
No.
I know it. It's a new game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It came out last year.
It did. It's my favourite game on the system.
Is it?
Oh,
is it really that good?
I love it. It's just
What is it
amazing. It's called Horizon Zero.
Horizon Zero, there we go.
Bit of a funny story. I bought 2 of these by accident. Well, I say by accident. The first one that came, the box was damaged. So they sent me another one, and then I just couldn't be bothered to send the other one back. So I got charged twice, but I got 2 of them.
Awesome.
So the other one's down there. I've got another one of those statues in there, but that one's just never.
Right.
That's just never been.
boxed.
That's just never been opened.
Wow.
That one isn't.
That's awesome, mate. You got a little SNES Mini?
SNES Mini. This is
Yeah,
just
you
my
haven't
old
modded
Kenny.
yet?
No, I've not. I was gonna. I'm gonna at some point.
Shenmue?
Yeah, Shenmue. I love these. Adrian Fields on. The guy called Adrian Fields on Galaxy Sega's the guy who did me these acrylic cases,
Right.
and he does them for like so.
Very nice,
Oh,
aren't
they're
they?
ever so nice, and I'm going to get some more off him. So, but they do make your games look. I mean, if I do want more, you see, so I
Yeah.
can display them like that,
What
especially
did
the
they want
32
for
X ones.
SNES?
Oh
Did
yeah, he
they-
does.
Does he?
Yeah,
You'll have
yeah.
to give me a link to him.
He'll do them for anything you want.
Right.
But yeah, PS4.
Oh God, I remember this football game.
Yes,
Oh
I
my
I had to have it, and my dad.
that is awesome.
I mentioned it to my dad it was about 2 years ago now, and then on my birthday, he went and got me one,
that.
and it's
That was
literally
probably the best tabletop
brilliant.
football game by sort of Subutio.
yes, it's amazing.
Did you ever? What was the other one where you sort of snapped their heads down? You pushed their head down and he kicked.
I do know which one you
Do you
mean. But I
remember
don't know
that
what
one?
it's called. I know what you mean.
Hitting
Yeah.
too hard.
But that is brilliant. That
Yeah.
game.
Used to have Kevin Keegan as well, the LED game. Do you remember that?
I don't
Kevin
remember-
Ke-
I don't
Kevin
remember- I
bits
don't
in
remember
before
that.
your time. You got Mega CD box,
Mega CD
lovely
box,
little Mega
yeah.
CD
Mega
collection,
CD
Night
collection.
Trap. Oh my God, is that really that bad? That game?
It's bad. Look, there's the PlayStation 4 version of it.
Oh,
That's
really?
That's from Limited Run Games. That is. Yeah, it's the only limited run game I've got.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got to get a PS4, dude. I really want one. It's just money at the moment.
Yeah.
Final Fight is the definitive
Final
version,
Fight,
isn't it?
yeah.
A bit disappointed in the SNES version,
Yeah,
really.
because obviously that one's got your 2 players, which the SNES didn't
Exactly.
have, because they had to use Final
Ridiculous.
Fight Guy, didn't they? But I
Yeah.
love the Mega CD. These are all a bunch of CDs for the 3DO, because the 3DO had no copy protection.
Oh, right.
So you can literally just burn
copy.
yourself an ISO, and then that's it, you're off.
Oh, we're down to some Nintendo stuff
Yes, not a lot,
here. Not a lot,
but, there is
we like
Nintendo
it.
stuff. Yeah.
DuckTales, so you got all the classics, mate. I haven't got a big NES collection. In fact, I'm thinking of sort of culling a bit of my stuff because I don't really play. I just want the in-house Nintendo games, really.
Well, my wife, you see, had a Nintendo when she was younger, and so I ended up getting all the
Right.
ones that she wanted as a kid. Again, if you
Mario
go through them,
Kart.
you'll find that most of them will be your regular...
The
you know,
classics.
the classics, Street Fighter
So I'm
2,
tearing your
Turbo.
place apart. Oh, you got another row there. Yeah. FIFAs, you like the FIFAs? Batman Forever.
I don't know
I
how.
don't
Some of
think
these
I
are
like
like
that
to
one.
be given to me, or there is
Yeah.
some decent ones in there though.
Is there?
Yeah, I think
You've got
so.
a Game Boy Advance SP there as well.
Yeah,
Is that a
there's an
limited
SP.
edition one? Or?
No, it's one again. My sister gave me that. That's what we got. Yeah, regular football games, F-Zero, PJ Tour Golf, Pilot Wings. Or we got Stunt Race FX, Nigel Mansell's World Championship, Sim City,
Nigel Mansell's World Championship is actually really good. It's a really good game.
Star Wing, Donkey Kong Country. I mean, most of the things that you'd regularly get in
Yeah.
a in a Super Nintendo
Do
collection.
you think you'd pay £44, £50 for these games back in the day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I bought a lot of the ones my friend like. This is again, that one's quite an important one to me because me and my friend used to play that
Haven't
quite a
played
lot.
it. Haven't played it.
It's called
Exhaust.
F1 Exhaust Heat.
Yeah.
Striker. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which
brilliant.
is brilliant.
I've been playing that a lot recently, actually. That is actually really good.
It's a mint game, that is.
Yeah.
Jurassic
Just
Park,
finished back in the day.
Super R-Type.
Suffered loads of slowdown, unfortunately.
Yeah.
R-Type freezer one to get.
Mario All-Stars. Do you remember this?
No.
That's it's a Tetris single.
What, song?
It's a song. It was in the charts.
I don't remember that.
By Dr. Spin.
Yeah, you'll have to
My
play it
original,
for me.
it's my original one from back in the day.
You'll have to play it.
Yeah.
Huh. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But again,
No,
a lot of
that's
these,
cool,
a lot
man.
of these have either, people have just gone, when they've had. I can't even remember. I've accumulated most of these, but I remember a lot of these ones have ended up being, I've got a spare. Do you fancy it? Do you know what I mean? Type
Yeah.
thing. I'll leave that there for the time.
Well,
being.
dude,
Switch.
spinning around here. Oh, it's excellent. Well, we're going to sit down and have a little chat. 'Cause I need to put my hand down. So I can cut that. That's better. It's my hair, alright? It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Going bald.
Looks good. Looks good.
So, Matt, thanks for showing me
That's
the
all right.
games. It's really, really cool.
No way.
I always ask this question to a lot of people, where do you see the collection going forward? We've actually already spoke about that you're quite happy
Yeah.
at the level of buying and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes, and because
So-
of the nature of where modern and retro gaming is,
Yeah.
I'm kind of quite settled.
Yeah, so really just interested in picking up the odd game and the new
Yeah,
game
yeah. Anything that I see
Yeah. that excites you.
that excites me,
Yeah.
I'll pick up.
I'm a bit like that with the Switch. I mean, there's just so many games coming out of it. And in the beginning, I was just buying everything.
Yeah,
And now it's just
yeah.
like, no, I'm just going to concentrate on the ones I know I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is just so much money now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, with having a family and stuff, you just have to make sure. I'm just
Yeah.
always conscious of that these days,
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd just spend money. I mean, to be honest with you, even if that wasn't the case, I don't know if I could spend, 300 quid on a game.
No.
I
could.
don't even know. Yeah. Yeah, you might be able to. I haven't. I think the most I've spent,
Yeah.
and obviously with cabs and arcade machines,
Yeah,
then they're
yeah.
obviously going to be a lot more expensive. But the most
Yeah.
I've ever spent on a game, probably about 150
Yeah.
quid, maybe.
Yeah. But if you're not buying
Yeah.
loads of games all the time, you only buy one now and again, it's
Yeah,
not so bad, is
yeah.
it?
And even the Mega Drive games, the ones
Yeah.
that I got, that are the expensive ones. I bought them years ago, so they weren't that much, if you know what I mean. It's the most expensive Mega Drive game I probably ever bought was like 40, 50 quid.
Yeah. And you worked a bit for Nintendo, or you made some games for Nintendo, is that right?
Well, I've made games on Nintendo platforms, so so most of the games that Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, that came out on the GameCube. Spyro: A Hero's Tale came out on the GameCube. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy came out on the GameCube. But then I've done a lot of the one that people will know on the Nintendo Wii was the remake of GoldenEye.
Oh, okay.
So
that was
GoldenEye
the big box
007.
with the gold controller.
That one just there.
Yeah, I used to own that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did
that
do
was
well.
it was a good game to work
Yeah.
on. Again, it's one of those things I have to be careful what I say to a degree.
Yes.
But I can talk about the development. So, for me, the game isn't as good as what it could have been.
Let's grab it.
It couldn't have been. We ended up pitching against at the time Free Radical Design, who were the guys. It ends up getting a bit complicated, but the guys that made the original GoldenEye created a company called Free Radical Design, who pitched to make the remake of GoldenEye, and I now work for that company.
Right, okay.
That's now because they went from Free Radical Design to a company called Crytek UK to a company called Dambuster Studios, which is who I work for now.
Yeah.
So I've kind of gone round the houses because I worked for the company that was the competitor to them of trying to get that game.
Right.
And then
A lot of game companies fracture, don't they? Like Rare got bought out by Microsoft, and then that all got broken up.
Yeah, there's a
Do you
lot
find
of
that happens to a lot of UK software companies.
You to a degree. I mean,
Well,
it
what happened
depends.
to Lionheart? I mean,
Lionhead.
Lionhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're well, obviously I don't know the ins and outs, but
Yeah.
we have some of the guys who worked for
Right,
Lionhead
okay.
working at our place now. You
Yeah.
see, so everybody goes. It's a bit of a. I'd like probably say it's an incestual industry
Yeah.
because there's lots of people knowing people from other companies. You know what I mean?
And
type
does the
thing.
government
So-
support software companies? You get a tax break.
We
don't
get
you?
tax breaks on. I mean, again, I'm not on the business side of
Yeah.
it, but as far as I understand, we get tax breaks based on employing British staff, I think, as far as I understand it, making games based on British things,
So it's
using British companies, and do you know what I mean? So it's to encourage, obviously, the industry to grow within Britain.
It's quite easy for people to go off somewhere and get bigger money.
Yeah, well, this is one thing with the games industry, is that it's a good industry to be in. It can be very stressful. Yeah. It's not what people think it is all the time. Like, people think, oh, you make video games, it must be really fun all the time. Well, it is, but it's also very difficult.
Yeah, it's not back in the day like
making
Sinclair Spectrum games.
You've got so many complex systems. You've got music, animation, you've got art, design, all mixing together to try and make this thing. It's even more complicated than a movie, because obviously, you know, it's more disciplines. It's very complicated. It's a very complicated process, but it's a fun place to work in. But it can be very hard at the same time.
But you enjoy it.
I enjoy it most of the time, and you know, there are bits that get stressful when I get very my wife will know, I'll come back and I'll just be thinking about trying to make. But overall, it's fun. It's a fun industry to be in.
It's interesting. I'd love to go into a software house and just have a look and see how they make, how it all comes about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always said I'd love somebody to sit next to me and so I can show them what I do and what, because what they think I might be doing is not what I'm actually doing, if you know what I mean. There's so many different conversations, and you know, it can get heated. You know, there can be lots of different opinions because it's creative. There isn't a specific thing. You know, it's not like there's an answer.
No.
And I've made, so this is the 13th or 14th, I'm sure it's the 13th game I'm making now, and do
you think a lot of creative ideas then get chucked out the window because of what you seen popular at the time to go with?
Absolutely. I mean, games take a long time to make now, especially AAA games. So like, you're talking,
and that's the trouble working with big companies, isn't it?
And you've got to keep up with the trends.
Get thrown out.
Keep up with the trends. Well, again, there's a lot of in games. There's a lot of political based stuff as well. Like, it depends on how much the I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about how much the publisher wants to spend, or what their marketing strategy is, or do you know what I mean? They might dictate then when the deadlines are, or it's such a complicated process. But working on that was good because, again, there was a lot of political based things on that because it's GoldenEye, and obviously Rare or other companies were trying to remake the game for a long time, but because different people owned different things. So I worked on the facility level, I worked on the nightclub level. I'm trying to think of other levels I worked on. There's an airport level, Seven Eye, is it Seven Eye? I can't remember. There's multiple levels, but if we go to the facility one that I worked on, it could have elements of what the original was like, but it couldn't look exactly like it. So there was. It's like that copyright.
That's why
do you know what I mean? It's like,
that's why a lot of arcade games don't see the light of day released on newer consoles, because they're so fractured in terms of who owns what. Yeah. You know, it's a simple thing like Donkey Kong.
Absolutely.
Ikegami created the code for that game, so it's very difficult for Nintendo to release it on its systems because they own part of it. Yeah. But
and obviously, it gets much more and more complex. The more it's obviously with one coder making the game, then it's easy to go to that person and find out. But then if you've got one person having the rights to this, and then some people having the rights to that, and then some people having the rights to this, like one of the GTAs recently has just had a lot of the music taken out of it because all the licenses for the tracks had ended up being removed, and just things like that, you know, become difficult.
Well, that's really cool, mate. So you're going to be at Revival, aren't you?
I am going to be at Revival.
You're going to be selling these beautiful pieces.
I'm going to be selling these, yes.
This one's mine. I'm taking this one with me. Look at that, guys. It's going to go on my wall. So if you want any of these pieces of artwork, make sure at Revival in a month's time. When is it? May the 18th?
May the 19th to the 20th.
May the 19th to the 20th. And you can see Matt there. SoulFunkRetro selling his beautiful pieces of artwork.
Yeah, come and say hello.
Yeah, come and say hello. Matt, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for taking your time to drive all the way up here.
No, it's been awesome, mate. I always enjoy it.
And it's a shame it can't go on for longer.
Yeah, well, we're going to play some games now.
Yes.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it, guys. Another game room tour done and dusted. Hope you enjoyed that. I really did. I've got to say a huge thank you to Matt for letting me into his house really early on that Saturday morning. I got up really early. As soon as I got up at like 6 o'clock, I was on the road and I just wanted to avoid all the traffic. So I got up there really early, made me a nice cup of tea, loads of biscuits, chocolate biscuits, And Matt is a fantastic guy. He's got loads of stories, loads off camera that we didn't have time to put in the video, but really, really interesting. Absolutely lovely guy. And I think you've got to agree, he's got an amazing collection, well into his Sega, which I like as well. Yeah, it's just fascinating how much space you can create with what you've got. You know, that games room of his is so small, pretty much the same size as my old games room. You know, you just try and maximise it as much as you can. It's a really cosy room. I really enjoyed being in there, Matt. I wouldn't mind spending a few hours in there myself every evening, just playing some games. It's so cool. And guys, go and check Matt's artwork out, which is awesome. I've already got mine up on the wall. Do you want to have a look? Let's go and have a look at my artwork. Can you see that, guys? There's my little corner over here. I've got a few items in my games room now I've yet to do a video on, so I don't want to give too much away, but there you go, look. I've got my Mario up there on the wall. I've got my Street Fighter up on the wall. And my F-Zero that he's given me, which is really, really cool. So Matt, thank you for that, mate. Pride and place in my games room. And really, I've pretty much got all the artwork I need in this room now. It's pretty much there with all the box art on display. Look at the colour. It's unbelievable, isn't it? That's what I like, seeing all the box art. A little bit of artwork sporadically placed around the place. Just gives it a really cool atmosphere, I think, when people walk in here, especially for me. I just love looking at all the artwork, and Matt, he did a fantastic job on those. So guys, if you want some of his artwork, head over to SoulFunkRetro. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram. Just get in touch with him, and he won't send them out, obviously, because it's glass, but if you're going to Revival, which Matt will be at, he'll be selling all of his stuff there. I think he sells the prints on their own, and you'll just have to find a frame, which is pretty easy enough. I think you can get them from, where is it, The Range? Do a lot of frames. I haven't been over there yet. I need to go over there myself. I've still got a couple of pieces of artwork I need to frame myself. But, yeah, it's so cool. Really, really cool. And, Matt, awesome, mate. Guys, thanks for watching again. I'm going to do a few more videos next week. Got a bit more time to myself. Been working for a builder recently. Hasn't given me any time. Getting home really late. So I haven't had much time to do any videos, but I will get back into it next week. Got a lot to show you, a lot to talk about actually. So we'll get on to that next week. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us the old thumbs up. And there'll be plenty more of these game room tools to come. Cheers guys, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.